This is going to be one of the key questions about this race. Can Craig Lowndes move through the field? Shane van Gisbergen's in position 24. So both of those guys, similar driving styles, in fact, like picking off car after car after car.
Fuso starting grid for race number 5. Jamie Whincup's got the pole position. It's been a great start to the championship. Mark Winterbottom will run with him off the front row. Then it is McLaughlin and Coulthard. They reckon they made a 20% improvement on the power steering of the Volvo, but they still haven't fixed the problem for Scotty McLaughlin in 33. Looking further afield, Todd Kelly in position 7, car 7, and have resolved his problems. Garth Tander will start alongside him. Then it's David Reynolds, car number 9. The back of the car was sliding too much for him, and a great qualifying performance, as Larko pointed out before, Robert Dahlgren. Jack Perkins, best of the season so far from position number 11, and with him will be Scotty Pye.
Rick Kelly had a DNF in the earlier race down there at turn 6. James Courtney, isn't it so interesting, this super sprint format? 1 minute he's on the podium, the next minute he's starting midfield. Russell Ingall, same. He started from position 3 earlier in the day. Now he's down in 17th. Chaz Mostert and Michael Caruso. Then Nick Percat and Tim Slade. The Super Cheap Auto Racing car 47 in position 22. Van Gisbergen in 24th. He actually came in contact with Scott Pye in the qualifying session, and a rear of the grid penalty for Craig Lowndes. That is why he is not on the front row. Taping over a safety hole in the driver's side window. He's been pinged and sent to the back of the class. On board there with Scotty Pye. Let's check in with Rihanna Cran. She's up there at turn 2, Rihanna.
Yeah, run as fast as I can, because this track, this is what makes it so special. It's the 42nd year V8 Supercars, the Australian Touring Car Championship, have come to this track, but it's here. It's on the hill. You can look back, see almost every single point of this little Simmons Plain circuit. The fans absolutely love it. I love it too. I can't wait to see the start of this race from right here in the middle of it.
If we wind back 12 months, Rihanna, you would have seen Scott Pye coming at you in a hurry. He ended up in the fence up towards that area, and it was quite scary. Interesting though, he says he doesn't look back at that. He doesn't worry about it when he comes back here. He's just said it could have happened anywhere, anytime. It's not specific to this circuit, but it was a big one.
Mark Winterbottom, the real beneficiary of this penalty to Lowndes to the back of the field. So Winterbottom to the front. I just spoke to him a little while ago. He's very happy with his car. It needs to be better at turn 2, is the comment from Mark Winterbottom.
Found out what the problem was with Rick Kelly as well. It was a leaky brake master cylinder.
So Winterbottom finds himself on the front row of the grid against Jamie Whincup, who's swept all before him already this weekend. They drag it up through to turn 2. Whincup holds his lead. A couple of Kiwis behind him in Coulthard and McLaughlin. And they rub panels.
Whincup was so close to that outside wall.
So McLaughlin got done by Coulthard, who gets up to turn 3. Now big lock-up, and Will Davison goes straight through at 4.
And that's just the... Oh, here we go, a lot of contact.
James Courtney is one of them, and it's Robert Dahlgren is the other car. So the good news for Davison is he didn't end up in the gravel down there, but drama between Dahlgren and Courtney, turn 4, and they're right now at the back of the pack. Oh, he's ended up beaching it after he's tried to rotate it, because he was actually stopped short of it when we looked at him on that last shot.
So he's trying to turn it around and has ended up now stranded. So this will be safety car, because they won't be able to do anything with that car based on how heavily bogged it is. So Will was just...
He was actually stopped, and then he's tried in that spot, and we watched him wander up there, and I actually made the remark, the good thing is he didn't end up in the gravel, because that's what everyone tries to avoid doing. That's what the extra bit of apron is. Here's the replay of the start. It's a ripper run from the front row for both these guys, that they had a big gap to row 2 by the time they got to turn number 3.
They were 2 really high-quality starts, weren't they? Those 2 guys, Whincup and Winterbottom, got very good starts, and then there was a bit of bumping between McLaughlin and Fabian. Same thing for the teammates with Holdsworth, and then this is down the outside, can't get stopped. Davison down there, so he's parked. That's what Neil said. That's where he was. And then he may have got the wrong gear then. He might have tried to get reverse, but it's got first.
Here it is again from external. So the front wheels drop off the ledge, but it's not enough to bog it. But when we came back and had a subsequent look, he's knee-deep at the beach.
So safety car straight out there gives us an opportunity to grab a break. We'll bring you back when the racing starts again.
Lap 3 and safety car on the road. Whincup, the leader from Winterbottom. Coulthard, there's Scott McLaughlin. Holdsworth 5th. Tander, Todd Kelly. This was some damage we saw in the background. Michael Caruso, it's World Championship Wrestling, belting this thing into some form of...
Okay, Rioli, can you get down the rear once you've done that?
Nissan Aero, it's got a smash nose, and they're going to just do the best that they can to get Michael Caruso back on the road. And it's been hit from behind as well, trying to do some running panel beating, and they don't want to fall off the lead lap.
Cars in the fast lane.
Make sure that will close, and the Norton Hornets release Michael Caruso just to get him back on the tail end of the lead lap, while the safety car's on the road with the field at slow pace. There they are down the back straight. Whincup, Winterbottom, Coulthard, McLaughlin, Holdsworth 5th, Tander, Todd Kelly, Reynolds, Pye, Perkins. That's the top 10. Lowndes is up to 19. He's got through a few of them. But it's a long day ahead. 42 laps. There's Russell Ingall's car. He's got front end damage. Dale Wood's car. He's got rear end damage. Tim Slade, he's got front end damage. Robert Dahlgren was in drama with Slade at that first lap run at the hairpin, and of course Will Davison ended up beached down at the hairpin, made a mistake on cold tyres and locked it up. Was lucky not to take out Scott McLaughlin on the way through, but it's ended up taking himself out after qualifying really strongly and starting from position 6. So that brought the Chrysler Pettis safety car onto the road, and the drivers desperately trying to keep some heat, some tyre pressure in the Dunlop tyre, because of course they'd only done just one lap of racing from the lights going out before the safety car hit the circuit and brought them back under pace. Rick Kelly's 11th from Jason Bright, then Moffat, Wall, Mostert, Percat, Ingle, Dale Wood, Craig Lowndes, Slade, Van Gisbergen, Courtney and Dahlgren. Caruso back to the pit lane. Will Davison to the pit lane as well in number 9 Erebus Mercedes. Lap 4 of 42 on this second race of the day at the Tyre Power Tasmania 400.
Well, that's the thing about Symmons Plains Raceway. One tiny error can have such a knock-on effect. James Courtney, Robert Dahlgren, Michael Caruso, Will Davison, all finding trouble in one way or another here. So just trying to keep my eye on Will to see. No, we still can't see that. And that's Dahlgren and Courtney.
But there's the explanation for the Russell Ingall damage, because he was involved in the kerfuffle that involved James Courtney and Robert Dahlgren there. See, he's a bit of a victim in that, because he cops one from Michael Caruso.
Yeah.
And there was a heap of them with nose-to-tail damage.
So Will Davison's just reported that he got his foot caught between the throttle and the brake there.
But that was that was the explanation of what happened up at the hairpin, and he just tried to flick spin it and buried it, drove it off into the gravel. But the reason, the first reason, was that that drama, which sounds strange at home, you think, how could they do that? But it's quite easy to do. You've only got to misposition your foot slightly on the brake pedal, and you're trying to use half the brake pedal and at the same time use the throttle to blip, synchronise the engine speed on those downshifts, and caught him and made a mistake.
So when you exit 470 kilometres an hour, when you exit 470 kilometres an hour.
There was a shot inside the Erebus garage there a moment ago too of Greg Crick, Tasmanian former V8 supercar driver, still does a bit of racing today. He's been unwell just in the recent past. Caught up with him down here several days ago, and he's making a good recovery, and wishing him well in that recovery.
So safety car restart. The Pettis safety car will leave the field just down the back straight here, and it'll hand over control of the field to Jamie Whincup. They'll remain line astern until they get to the final turn where the acceleration zone board is, the first one. They'll have to maintain a speed between 60 and 80 kilometres until they get there, and then it's up to Whincup when he goes.
Yeah, we saw Michael Caruso just come into pit lane. He's actually come into pit lane twice. The first time they just put some race tape on the front of the car, and then he had to come back in again so that they could, as you can see on the screen, they are getting to it as hard as they can. Sledgehammer's bodies, fists, everything they possibly can to flatten that bonnet out and get him back into this race.
A bit of Mark Larkham body work.
It's like the ultimate fighting challenge.
Exactly. So here's the restart. This is the A to Z acceleration zone. Back there near the United sign is where they position their cars and get themselves straight. And as Matt said before, this is a very critical method of him controlling the pace.
Now leader is
Gone. Good job. Craig Lowndes did it well in the previous race. Whincup this time. Very good job. 3 abreast.
Oh, there's got to be contact, and there is big contact. This time, it's Lee Holdsworth and David Reynolds, the victims. And Todd Kelly absolutely overtook somebody before the control line, so they'll have a look at that.
I think it was Tander down the inside in car 2 when they all basically clouted each other heavily. Looked like he was actually going to drill them pretty hard because he couldn't stop it down there. It was a big one.
That was a big one. So he was 3 wide. He was around the outside. He couldn't slow it down enough. He's on the dirty line. You see now Bright and Perkins battling at turn 6. Young Jack gets down the inside. Good job. A lot of damage on the front of Ingles' car. We saw that before. There's a lot of front and rear damage from the congestion at turn 4. And then as we saw, at this spot, Tander was around the outside, 3 abreast. You see there, the contact actually pulled the back wheels off the road there for Mostert into the back of James Moffat.
David Reynolds was a real victim in that, just knocked him back down the field. He's back down to 17th and he's under assault from Craig Lowndes at the moment up at the hairpin turn 4.
For Lowndes fans, he's now gained 7 positions from starting at the back. Them all vying for track position here. Ingle around the outside.
He's got enough damage around the front. Look at this. Percat on the dirty line, having real trouble stopping up the inside of Ingle. Gives him a whack. Through goes Lowndes. Ingle gets carted to the grass and Percat gives it away. Look at the front of that thing. It's about to say that that's going to really affect the behaviour of that car. It's even worse now.
Just going to put it away now, proper.
It's been weird, hasn't it? Just the totally different rhythm to the previous. So Perkins up the inside now of Scott Pye. This is a good move and he makes it stick. He's moved to 7th and another problem back in the pack. This time it's Mostert gets together with David Wall. Wall's the spinner. He's backing down the road.
Whatever it is, shake it free if you can.
Meanwhile, at the front, Winterbottom, who's got good pace, is right behind Whincup.
And Jamie's car's sliding a lot more. In the couple of shots that I've seen, the back of the car looks a little unstable.
Whincup did a 52.4 as his fastest lap. Winterbottom on the last lap there is on the fastest lap of the race. That's why you see him come forward. So he did a 52.33, as I said, the fastest lap of the race so far. So he's got good pace.
See Jamie hugging the left side of the road. They're gradually easing it up a bit higher, just making sure that he carries enough speed and width to protect into turn 4.
So we've got some news on car 7, Todd Kelly, and 23, Russell Ingle, have breached the rules here at the start. Now keep your eye on car number 7, Todd Kelly. He rounded up one of the cars in between that acceleration zone and the control line. Now, you're not allowed to overlap before the control line. So a black flag pit lane penalty for Kelly and Ingle.
And the slow-mo replay down at turn 2, and Garth's on the dirty, launches the AMG car up onto 2 wheels with a massive shunt, and on the outside of that is the green car, David Reynolds, and just fires him off the road as well.
Both cars started inside the top 10, remember. So at the first acceleration zone board right there, Whincup goes. Now, on the left-hand side of our screen, Todd Kelly comes around the outside and gets the position ahead of Lee Holdsworth. He can't do it before the control line. That's why they pinged him.
And look at that. Look at that for contact. Those forces when the wheels make contact like that are very high. And you can see the Mercedes right up on two wheels as a consequence of that contact with Garth Tander.
So that takes Kelly out of the top 10. That's a real pity because he was running well at the restart. But Jamie Whincup has a real handful, and it's in the form of Mark Winterbottom. Back after this.
Fastest man on the road is Craig Lowndes, 52.2 last time around. He's 11th. He's marching forward from 25th on the grid. But his teammate leads. We're on board with car number 1, Whincup, lap 11. Looking back at Winterbottom, he looks pretty racy. The FPR Ford, Coulthard going with them. Remember, second in the championship coming into this race. Lowndes the leader, further back in the pack. He stands to gain major ground on the points leader. McLaughlin is strong too. The Volvo is hanging tough. There were drivers unnamed saying coming into this weekend that Volvo was going to smash everyone. No one was going to get within a bull's roar of it, but that's certainly not proven to be the case. He runs in 4th, and a big gap back to Garth Tander in the HRT Commodore. He had that contact with Lee Holdsworth earlier on. Surprised that Holdsworth is still going. Here he is, he's 10th. That car launched off the ground, crashed back down, but still going. But under pressure from Craig Lowndes in the 888 Commodore. We're on board the Jack Daniels Nissan with Rick Kelly. Both the JD Altimas failed to finish race 4 earlier on in the day. And Lowndes lining up a move on the Merc. That's for 10th. He's gone by 15 drivers as he marches forward. We haven't even got to half race distance and he's gone past half of the field. Next on the list is Rick Kelly. We're on board. Remember these two championship rivals back in 2006 in one of the most controversial finishes to a V8 Supercars Championship. Kelly was crowned the champ after an incident in the early stages of the final race when it was a winner-take-all, but at the moment it's for P9. Lowndes in deep, Holdsworth deeper. Scott Pye's up in front of them, doing a nice job in 8th. Jack Perkins is 6th. Best run for the Joe Glenn Ford of 2014 so far. Lowndes zeroing in. He'll have a lunge here at turn 6. Down the inside, he'll get this done.
Welcome back. Well, the action is all circling around Craig Lowndes. We're on Lowndes watch at the moment. He is pushing through the field, doing a remarkable job. Starting in 25th, he is now up to 9th.
Well, fortunately, the way it's all panned out with the amount of crash and bash and the mistakes that have been made along the way, it's opened up nicely. So he's been able to make a big gain through the field. He's still doing very quick sector splits. He's run into the hairpin that time at turn 4. It was the best we've seen in the race. We're watching from Rick Kelly's car. Here's somebody else with some damage off to the left. It's Nick Percat that was coasting on the outside of the sweeper. And we'll see whether Lowndes continues this pace to the second timing intermediate, which was right there. It's not. But he's tucked right in now behind Scotty Pye, and Jason Bright just got a move there on Jack Perkins as we were watching them.
Yeah, Neil, Nick Percat just trying to keep out of the way. He's gone back out, a couple of laps down, broke a steering arm in contact in all that first lap debacle. But just keep an eye on Nick. I mean, he's a very quick young fella. I think he's matured nicely, and I reckon he's going to pop out of nowhere over the next few rounds. We're going to sort of say, where'd he come from?
Also just picking up his pace now as things have settled a bit. Whincup's got some margin back again now. He's taken it back out to half a second over Mark Winterbottom, and he was all over the back of him just a couple of moments ago. And he splits to both the first and second timing intermediate look good as well. Now, it's only a car length, as you can see, but it's just eased the gap ever so slightly. And it's his pace that's doing it. So he's been very quick on this lap.
So 52.26 for Whincup, 52.31 from Winterbottom. The only other guy that's doing that level of lap time is Craig Lowndes with a 52.43. So essentially, Whincup now fastest first sector again on this lap. So he's really turning it on in this mid-stage of the race.
And he only just got back from Brazil, from a run in the Brazilian Stock Car Championship last weekend at Interlagos in Sao Paulo, where he finished 4th, but a penalty for another competitor meant that he ultimately got to 3rd, drove a Peugeot 408 with Sergio Jimenez. So he stumbled back into Melbourne late on Wednesday night, then had a Tuesday night, and then had a function in Hobart Wednesday night. His eyes were spinning and settled back into the groove here, and he's only half a second away.
You're riding with James Courtney, who's in position 16. Remember, he got turned around at turn 4, so he's fighting his way back through as well. Lowndes has got another spot, by the way, guys. He's up to 8th. He's picked off Scott Pye.
52.1 that lap for Whincup. So the last 2 laps for Jamie have been telling because he's had terrific speed and he's been able to stabilise and even increase the margin to Winterbottom.
And nothing in it, Neil. 52.10, 52.15, Whincup versus Winterbottom.
It's a great battle at the front. The 2 rivals are going to duke it out in this second Saturday afternoon race, but we know that Craig Lowndes is on the charge.
Great shot on board with James Courtney as he hustles the back of James Moffat's Norton Nissan. Hits off to the right. Many years ago, some 20 odd years ago, they were off to the left here, and the start-finish line for the V8 races in the championship and other races right here on the exit of that final turn. Straight run down the hairpin. New fastest lap for Jamie Whincup, 52.10 last time around. You'll see Moffat driving straight off the corner. This is Holdsworth, 11th, Mostert, Reynolds, Rick Kelly up in front. So Nissan, Mercedes-Benz, a couple of Falcons. The Commodore next in the queue with Shane Van Gisbergen. Remember, he started down the back as well and has moved forward, but not as well as Craig Lowndes, who just goes through a shot. There he is, 7th place in the 888 Commodore. That was tight for Scott Pye. Dale Wood off the road, Robert Dahlgren rejoining as well. So you'd have to say that those 2 things are connected in some way, shape or form. There's Jack Perkins, Gentleman Ford, run from Ford Performance Racing under the Racing Entitlements contract owned by Charlie Schwerkolt, the former co-owner of Dick Johnson Racing. Chaz Mostert, winner here in Formula Ford in his championship winning year 4 years ago. First time in a V8 supercar in Tasmania. David Reynolds behind in the Bottle Falcon. Up front though, Whincup's just edging away from Mark Winterbottom as we approach this half-race mark. Another race tomorrow, but 200 kilometres, 84 laps. Oh, another lock-up up in front. That was Scott Pye. Again with the right front tyre, locked on the way into turn 2 and 3. That'll start to hurt Lowndes. Fastest lap of the race, 52.08. Next on his list is Jason Bright, as Mostert has a little look up the inside of Holdsworth, a little bump on the exit of the hairpin, but Lowndes is making pace. 25th to 7th, with still 23 laps left to run. Lowndes is charging. Here he is, 888 closing in on 8. Jason Bright next on his list.
Those battles galore going on here at this short 2.4 kilometre circuit. Blink and you miss it, but nobody can miss the charge of Craig Lowndes at the moment. He is now up to 7th. He's done the job on Jack Perkins. He's just laid down the fastest lap of the race at 52.0. That was Nick Percat. So this will just give you an indication of what's been happening in Craig's world over the last 10 or so laps. He goes past Lee Holdsworth. We just saw him get the free kick when Nick Percat, and then he comes alongside Rick Kelly, says thank you very much. Next in the queue would be Scott Pye. Well, Scotty didn't see it coming, and then Jack Perkins. So from 25th up to 7th, back in 2008, Todd Kelly won after starting 10th. We thought that was pretty good. On lap 22 of 42, there's enough time and enough pace, and there could be big trouble.
That's a wild bit of road down there. The minimum speed in the corner is 165 kilometres an hour, but they quickly exceed that. They slide all the way up to the edge of the road. When you're on the signalling wall down there as a crew member, you just cringe. It's 1.5 tons coming at you completely sideways.
You're going to cringe in a minute because Shane Van Gisbergen is going to do this move where he just fires down the inside. We saw him in the previous race. Those blokes don't need any more vigour. I bet you Lowndes on this drive through, he's going, these boys play for keeps down here.
Well, Craig is now 10 seconds away from the lead. Here we go again. We're riding with David Reynolds. This is the run to turn 6.
He'll tuck it right in there. And Van Gisbergen was up the inside of Reynolds. There was no road there. He did a great job not to make contact.
So the Giz started 24th. He's made up 10 spots.
This has got an air of tick, 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 boom about it, hasn't it?
Lowndes has got another spot. He's up to 6th. He's got Pascal Tander now.
Sometimes what Craig tends to do when he's had one of these bad days, and he's been having a fairly bad day at the office, one might think, that he explodes and there's all the oversteer and the locking and the yeah on the radio, but this has been a really disciplined drive by him so far. He's got a quick car. He's had the fastest lap of the race at one stage. In fact, he's still got it at 52.08, and he's just chipping away with a very determined drive here to recover from a rotten situation, from having to go all the way to the back of the field because of that infringement with the window, having dealt with the bruise mentally of getting in. Oh, Davey, seriously. You're interrupting our train of thought. You're scaring us. Women and children first. Unbelievable how they get away with that move, dropping the right rear on the grass there. And a few of the boys have been getting away with it over and over all weekend. This battle here is the focus. It's Jason Bright, Team BOC, with a freshly minted car off the back of the disaster at Adelaide, where they had to turn around very quickly and get it built. And Lowndes is on him, 5th and 6th. And has he got him? Oh, shades of what happened in the previous one between the teammates. And Jason hangs on by a whisker through that final turn, just the tiniest margin. We can't leave this. It's an extraordinary exchange between Bright and Lowndes, two of the most experienced.
He thought about it, he thought about it. Bright was on top of that one, but it was risky from both. Bright had to hang it out wide on the approach to turn 7.
Got to set him up now. He's got to come off here well with nice drive. He's done a good job. He's actually closer this lap. Bright made a little mistake right at the end of the curve on the outside. A little bit too much wheel spin, a little bit of dirt. And this is now the run for Lowndes. 265 kilometres an hour, and can he get down there?
He's going to have another go.
No, he's in there. He's done it. Good move. Very, very good move.
Brilliant. We were desperate to pay some bills there, but we decided to just hang on for a sec. But we will pay some bills now. So it was worth the extra 60 seconds, wasn't it? That was a great exchange between those two. They gave each other racing room. How's that? Lowndes is on the march now to position number 5. Thank you very much. Stay with us. There'll be more.
Brains Trust at Red Bull Racing Australia. Jeremy Moore to the right of screen is Craig Lowndes' long time race engineer. He's now 5th. He is on the charge. Next on the list is Scott McLaughlin, but he's another 6.5 seconds down the road. Rick Kelly here in the Jack Daniels Nissan, P10 for Rick. Another of the big movers, Van Gisbergen. Not quite as many spots as Lowndes, but nevertheless, he's been moving as well. 14th, of course, he won 3 races at the recent non-championship event at Albert Park in Melbourne. There's Moffat next through, 16th in the Norton Nissan. Nick Burkett is still in the pits with steering damage to the HHA car. On board with Scott McLaughlin, looking ahead at Fabian Coulthard. A couple of Kiwis running together on the road at the moment. Very distinct engine note of this S60 Volvo run by Gary Rogers' team from Melbourne. Factory squad supported heavily by Polestar. Done a great job to get this car so competitive. Remember, they were competitive with this driver last year. McLaughlin won a race, his first championship race at Pukekohe in New Zealand, and that's where the championship heads in a month's time. He's looking for a podium here at the track that Volvo took its first championship win here back in 1985 with another Kiwi in Robbie Francevic. Back then it was a turbo Volvo. Now it's very much a V8. Dale Wood off the road again. Down at turn 6, the Advam Commodore from Brad Jones Racing.
Clear, mate.
Asking the team to spot the gap in traffic. Pretty hard to see out directly to the left with the high seat sides and the hands device that the drivers all have. He's got plenty of damage to that 21 car. This is the third entry from Brad Jones Racing, the reigning Dunlop Series champ. There's Whincup and Winterbottom, 1 and 2. Lap 29. Fight for the podium on between Coulthard and McLaughlin. Lowndes ripping time, 6/10 that lap from McLaughlin. He's 5.3 behind. There's time for him, if he doesn't chew up all of this Dunlop rubber at this pace and at this sort of rate, to get on the back of that fight for the podium. It's been an inspired drive. Remember, it's 75 championship points to the winner of this race. So he's minimised the points loss or the potential loss to Whincup, to Coulthard, who is in the championship battle, and of course to Winterbottom, who is flying the flag for Ford. Lap 30 now. Whincup leads 1 second back to Mark Winterbottom, but they're clearing away from that fight for third between Coulthard and McLaughlin. That time around, Lowndes grabbed another 5/10. He's on the charge. It's lap 30 at Symmons Plains.
Welcome back. We're live at Symmons Plains, commercial free to the end of this race. What do you think? Can Lowndesy do it from here? He's in 5th. He's 12.8 seconds behind the leader. There's 13 laps to go. He's driving like a man possessed. And in so many ways he is. Possessed with absolute brilliance, pure entertainment, and A-class skills. Go to v8supercars.com.au/vote or use our 7 Sport app. So he's got Scott McLaughlin, Fabian Coulthard, Mark Winterbottom and Jamie Whincup ahead of him. Rick Kelly is in position 10.
And these days, Matt, they can work out fantastically for you after the unfortunate stuff that's gone on, or they can work out terribly. And your point before, Crompo, if you go a bit mad and you get caught up in all that drama at the start of the race, he was very good in terms of his approach. He didn't get caught in that stuff. He stayed back from it. He then has gone and plucked them off. He's been a little bit lucky on a couple of occasions when he got a couple of spots for free. But the reality is 20 positions at this level is an extraordinary drive. That is a very, very good performance.
Heart rate numbers for Rick Kelly are pretty extraordinary here too, coming off turn 4 in the Jack Daniels Nissan. Rick's in 10th at the moment. Remember, he came into this round of the championship 4th. Had the problem with the brake master cylinder in that previous event that speared him into the gravel right here. So he shot straight off the road into the gravel. So this is a nice little run to recovery for him. Jack Perkins on screen. That's Garth Tander in the foreground, and behind in car number 16 is Scotty Pye. Larko?
Yeah, just want to have a chat with Jeremy Moore. You can see he's talking to Craig right now. Yeah, sorry, mate. Good observation. Hey, Jerry, Craig Lowndes is race engineer. As such, you're his driver coach, you're his manager of his race. When he's fired up like he is now, what little strategies do you use? How do you control that situation to yield the best result?
I think when he's in this mood, he's his own tool. He does it all himself. I just got to make sure he doesn't overstep the mark. But quite often when he's in this mood, he doesn't. He just keeps things on the razor's edge, when he's got a carrot like McLaughlin inside, I think he's just got to focus on and he's down there.
Beautifully put. We often said, Compo just said, and he's right, we see Craig in these ones where he sometimes overdrives the car, gets a bit sideways, overdoes it, but that does look very nice, very disciplined out there at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a target to drive through. He knows there's 10 laps to go. He's got the pace on. He's got to keep chipping away and might have ended up with Podium from dead last.
And just quickly, I don't want you to disclose too much, but I see you having a quick chat to him every lap. What, for people at home, what are you saying to him as he goes by?
It's basically telling him the gap to the car in front and telling him make sure that he's at the current speed, he'll catch the cars, because there's no point burning the tyres up, you're not going to catch them. So basically giving him the gap to the car in front and his lap times.
Nice work, Jerry. Keep it up.
And he's pulling around about half a second a lap on average at the moment. Ooh, it's on here at the hairpin still. That's Mostert up the inside of Rick Kelly, who we were riding with a moment ago. So Lowndes is 13 seconds off the lead of the race. You'd have to drink a lot of Happy Aid to think that he could win it. But he is making good speed nonetheless. You know, he's half a second a lap quicker than Scott McLaughlin.
Where did that brand just come from? Where did that brand just come from?
Just invented it.
So further to your point, Neil, while he's 13 seconds away from the lead, which means that Jamie Whincup's doing a faster and faster lap out in front, the gap between him, Lowndes that is, and McLaughlin is shrinking. It's now 2.5 seconds. And importantly, what Jeremy Moore said there, he can now get visual as Chaz Mostert gets dirty. So he can now get visual on the back of car 33, Lowndes, and that's going to help every bit because he's so good when he's in a fight. When he's out there on his own, he's got air gaps all around him. It turns into qualifying laps. He loves the scrap.
He's making good ground. So on the current numbers, he will get to the back of Scott McLaughlin. But look at this. This is Chaz Mostert. We've taken a breath here and there watching this battle in the last couple of laps. And oh, he's got him. Mostert's given him a whack, I'd suggest. I might be incorrectly vilifying, or he might have just locked up and fired off on his own. Rick, we'll wait and have a look. But that'll be a safety car.
Safety car, stand by.
Well, now that 13
it's on.
seconds disappears.
Now
Get your Happy Aid out.
So now it's on. That's heartbreak for Rick Kelly. Finds himself in the gravel for the second time in as many races at turn 6.
Did he touch him?
Here we go.
He might have done it on his own.
Nah.
Or not.
So that's unfortunate because Rick Kelly come into this round as the best. I mean, the best for a long time for him. He was 4th in the championship coming in here, and he's been unloaded. Just listen.
It's a bit strange because there was a bit of a gap there at one point. It all looked like it was going to work out swimmingly, and then it was a big whack. It lifted the back of the Nissan right up. So it'll take a moment or two to get this car clear. Now the field compresses.
Now the drama starts. Because
Well, there's only a handful of laps to go, and by the time they get car 15 out, it's going to be a mad dash to the finish. Whincup was sailing along nicely, had good speed over Winterbottom. He had everybody covered. Fabian Coulthard in at 3rd. Scott McLaughlin knew that Lowndes was coming, but now he'll have him right in his rear-view mirror.
And look, a lot of times, Matt, we really, we've given Chaz Mostert some real accolades for some great drives, especially his first win last year. Yeah. And he shows great pace. But that was a very immature move, that one. At that stage of the race, you've got to make sure that if you're going to fire down the inside, that you can actually make that manoeuvre stick. It never looked like stopping and hit the back of the Nissan Altima hard enough for the rear wheels to come off the ground.
So one of the Volvos is coming in. Robert Dahlgren is down in position 19.
We'll just try and grab a word here with Timmy. Before we do, if you can just point the camera over there, Dave. There's Eddie, Big Eddie. That's Chaz's dad over here. He just looked at me. He's probably a little bit disappointed as well. Hey, Tim, we do talk a lot about how fast Chaz is. He's a great talent of the future. Over the course of today, I thought he probably didn't position his car well in the first race a couple of times, and we've seen a little bit of an error there. It's a bit of a management issue now, isn't it? He just needs that little bit of something to make him capitalise on his raw speed.
Yeah, we've just got to coach him. That's our job. We've got to teach him. He is new to the category. You can't expect somebody to have 10 years of experience. Yeah, I mean, he was obviously getting a little bit frustrated. He was a lot faster than Rick, and Rick was blocking him every lap down into turn 6. And he just, I think he's his impatience got the better of him, I'd say.
Yeah, well, he's still very young, mate, so it's ahead. So keep your head down and keep at him. He's got a big future.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing is that he's fast. We can teach him the other part of the job.
Yeah, you're dead right. The other bit is a bit hard, isn't it? All right, thanks, pal.
It's always easier to play Wonetti than giddy up in this business. But here's car number 34, Robert Dahlgren in. So, must have had a little bit of tyre damage there. So, and he will get a penalty for that, by the way, Chaz Mostert. It's pretty clear cut.
Don't forget the highlights tonight at midnight, right around the nation on 7 to 7, mate, of both of the races today. So a couple of things here. Take a look. Car 17 is out of sync, but in the line, David Wall. So too is Russell Ingall just at the top of your screen. He's not hard to miss. Damage to car 23. But remember, when they get to the acceleration zone, they're not allowed to overtake before the control line.
Which was discussed at length in the driver's briefing, and there's certainly been a couple of instances today where that's run amok. It's hard to manage, though, when you're in the saddle. So
normally those guys would step aside and let the other guys go racing, but
that's right.
You can't do it now. So that's pretty critical in the fact that we'll only end up having about 4 or 5 laps to the end. And as Larko pointed out earlier on in the day, every inch of this 2.4 kilometre circuit counts.
So they're all guiding now. They're talking to Mark Winterbottom as we speak, and they're saying, don't pass him before the control line. So we've got to limit the risk here.
So Jamie picks that speed between 60 and 80 when he takes control of the field. He then flattens off that number. There's all of the various engineers. That's Dave Patterson there. He'll be talking to Jack Perkins, his engineer. They've got to stay within 1 car length. That's a requirement in the rules, so they tighten up the bunch. Fabian's right under the back of Russell. Into the zone.
Goes straight. He'll go straight away. Off he goes. So they've got to wait. They've got to wait until they get the control line. Now they can start to fan out and look for positions. So those cars that are out of sync help Jamie Whincup and help Mark Winterbottom. They don't help Coulthard, McLaughlin, Lowndes and Bright.
Russell does the right thing and just sidesteps car 6 drive through for that incident that we saw before. So Mostert will come through the lane, no surprise. Oh, down the inside, that's messy for Van Gisbergen. He climbed over, was it Reynolds or Courtney? Whatever it was, he was all 4 in the air at that stage.
And at that restart, Jason Bright has got Craig Lowndes. So Lowndes has dropped the spot back to 6th. So Whincup, 1.2 seconds. Then Winterbottom, then Coulthard. Oh, that was
Lowndes.
close.
Craig just got him back.
Got him back. So that was close between David Wall and Scott McLaughlin, but he gets through.
How's the margin that Jamie's enjoyed after the first racing lap? The restart, 1.3 seconds the margin when they crossed the control line there. That was messy back on the previous laps of the hairpin scaping. Yeah. Cars crunching hard into each other. Oh.
So Russell Ingall did the right thing. He stepped aside. David Wall's got to do the same. This is the penalty. Chaz Mostert, driving infringement. And this was the stuff that Neil's referring to. Look at that. That's Van Gisbergen right up in the air into the side of Dave Reynolds. Get some vision here. Bang. They were all concertina straight into the side of Jack Perkins. He's got no road on the outside. That was on board, I think, with Courtney. We'll just have a look.
Yeah. So Courtney got into the back there of Van Gisbergen.
Have a look at this. This is a great performance of Whincup since the restart. Very, very good laps.
Just 1.5 seconds.
There'll be a post-race investigation for Jason Bright and Tim Slade as a result of that restart.
Now, don't discount Fabian Coulthard having a run at Mark Winterbottom, because we saw this last year. Young Scott McLaughlin's done a good job at the restart. We thought that Lowndes would get straight to him. In fact, he lost a spot to Bright. He had to fight his way back by Jason. And now Lowndes is looming large in the mirror of young Scott McLaughlin, who's done an extraordinary job this year in the first year back for Volvo.
Say, by the way, that Lowndes went past Bright back at turn 6 on that previous lap. He's actually yielded the spot to him, because I'll bet that they got on the radio and went, mate, you're going to have to redress that. Because I think what's happened there is Bright somehow snipped Lowndes before the control line on the restart.
Right.
Look at the margin. He's bolted Jamie Whincup. It's 1.6 seconds. And it's a handy margin, Winterbottom to Coulthard. But this next little battle, that's unresolved.
So that concrete fringe has got a higher grip level than what the tar has got. So the guys use every little bit on the exit of there. This is Lowndes now.
So remember the fight that Scott McLaughlin had with Jamie Whincup at Adelaide. Now he's got Craig Lowndes on him. They're going to come side by side at the exit of 6. Do they rub it? 7, yes they do. That is high speed sliding around the corner. And the Volvo sticks it out.
Great drive.
Holds his ground, the young Kiwi.
Great driving by both those guys. And the cars are totally grip limited on the slide. And the lowest speed is 165k. They're doing about 180 or 190k, right out sideways, right alongside each other. Great driving.
Oh, Craig, he nearly outbraked himself then and drilled straight into the back of McLaughlin. That was spectacular at 6, wasn't it? Both cars sliding through the turn, and great maturity for McLaughlin to just keep his focus there and not make a mistake. Here's the race leader with 1 to go.
Scott McLaughlin drawing on all that experience that he had in between events, driving on the ice in Sweden,
Well done,
but
boys.
Jamie Whincup does it again.
Good job. Good pace. Well done.
2 out of 2.
Good
Winterbottom is
drive.
second,
Sorry about the
Fabian
stuff up in
third.
quality, but you're rocking out there.
Scotty McLaughlin fourth, and what a drive from Craig Lowndes. Unbelievable talent, incredible skill from 25th to 5th. Amazing. Red Bull Racing Australia, so 2 pole positions and 2 wins to start the weekend for Jamie Whincup.
And a very good drive by young Scott there, Matt. I mean, that last lap with the pressure of a Lowndes coming at you and being able to get away with it, the highest speed corner, 2 abreast, totally grip limited, and not run into each other and not effectively have an accident with only a lap to go was a very mature drive. We've seen some really good performances so far from him. Fabian Coulthard also a very good performance. Mark Winterbottom had the pace of Whincup in the early stages, right through to the middle of the race. Whincup then put on about a 10-lap spurt, which were like qualifying laps. And just before the safety car, he effectively had a 1-second lead. He ended up winning this with a very smart restart and a very good batch of laps right at the end, and that was a superb performance from Jamie Whincup to rebound from the drama of the previous race.
You go back to that battle that he had with Frosty, where he just stepped it up a notch.
Yep.
Started posting fastest first sector times, just enough to say, I know you're coming with me, but I'm just going to kick ahead here.
Yep.
And that's what he does. He's remarkable like that. 78 career wins now. And that's 10 victories at Symmons Plains for Jamie Whincup. He's a master of his trade.
That was a wild race. There was a lot of wild stuff that had just gone on there.
No kidding, Sherlock. And we knew it was going to end like that too.
I know. A totally different tempo than the previous race.
So that's 3 race wins for 2014 for the combination of Couchy and Whincup. Red Bull Racing Australia have that knack too of, they got themselves into trouble, they got a slap on the wrist from the boss, and they quickly put it behind them. Good drive from Mark Winterbottom. He's so consistent here. He's got good car speed, and Fabian Coulthard again on the podium at Tasmania.
Jamie Whincup, it has been a roller coaster day for you, but 10 wins at this racetrack now, 2 wins from today. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. The car was excellent all day. We qualified well and got a much better start in that last race. And Frosty pushed us hard. He's obviously got a very good car. It's a classic good old battle. You know, we've been doing it since 2008, so really enjoyed that. But and I saw Lowndesy come flying through as well, where he put in a super effort. So yeah, it's been a good day.
Enjoy the champagne on the podium. And Mark Winterbottom, you've continued your amazing streak at this circuit. 20 out of the last 22 races in the top 5. Congratulations, second on the podium.
Yeah, I'm wrapped with that. I may have to give Jamie an invoice. He might send me an invoice for a tow docket because I just towed him that whole race. But those boys are quick. But you just got to keep pushing and try and consolidate results when you can. And I'm pretty proud. We had a few issues before we went out that race, and all 4 teams or 4 cars come and help me get out of into that race. So it's a podium for everyone, and we're fighting. We're close.
And the boys are here to cheer you on the podium. Congratulations. Fabian Coulthard, something about you and this track here at Symmons Plains. Your first ever podium, your first ever race win, and you're on the podium again today. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, look, it was pretty good. You know, we suffered a little bit in that first race today, and, you know, you only got short turnaround to try and transform the car and make it into something good. But, you know, my guys at Lockwood Racing did that, and, you know, I'm able to stand up here, so it's a credit to them as well.
Maybe it's the beard. Get up there and enjoy.
No worries. Cheers.
He's not feeling too flash. He's got a bout of the flu, Fabian Coulthard, but that'll put a smile on his face. So that's your podium. Whincup, Winterbottom and Coulthard. McLaughlin in the Volvo in 4th. Craig Lowndes from 25th up to 5th. Great job from Scott Pye and Jack Perkins in the Geraldwin Ford, and Lee Holdsworth for Erebus rounds out the top 10. All-star performance too from Shane Van Gisbergen. He started 24th, so he made up 12 spots. Nick Percat and Rick Kelly didn't make it to the finish. Some bruises, some bumps, and the ramifications championship-wise are that Jamie Whincup moves up to 3rd in the championship, but Lowndes still leads.
Craig Lowndes, outstanding drive, mate. Good to see you back with a smile on your face.
I always had a smile. We couldn't do anything about it. Decision was made, and of course it was sort of one of those things that's out of my sort of control, and just really had to drive the arse off the car really, and just have to really look after it. JJ made some great changes to the car because we knew we were going to be in traffic, and of course the car was really speedy down the back straight, which is what we needed to pass cars.
Beautifully put. Well said. Cheers.
All right, let's go to the podium. Aaron Noonan.
It's time for the podium for race 5 of the championship at the Tyre Power Tasmania 400. Our winner of race 5 from Red Bull Racing Australia, Jamie Whincup. In 2nd place for Ford Pepsi Max crew, Mark Winterbottom. In 3rd place for Lockwood Racing, Fabian Coulthard. And representing the winning team for Red Bull Racing Australia, David Cauchi. And presenting the winning trophies for race 5 for 3rd place, Rob Smith, General Marketing Manager for naming rights sponsor Tyre Power. To present the 2nd place trophy, John Fitzgerald, Chief Executive Officer of Tourism Tasmania. Presenting the trophy to the winning team, Peter Murphy, National Director for our naming rights sponsor Tyre Power. And the 1st place trophy to our winner of race 5, the Premier-elect Will Hodgman, MP. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your podium in race 5 of the championship at the Tyre Power Tasmania 400.
So 3 race wins so far this season. It moves Whincup up to 3rd. He came into this weekend in 7th. Lowndes' lead has been chipped away by Fabian Coulthard and Mark Winterbottom in 4th position.